Do you ever see VR stepping outside of that gaming or media consumption group that it's kind of been dominating? Like, what kind of applications do you see outside of those categories?
So the question is, what kind of applications are going to be outside of outside of gaming for VR? Lots of stuff. So a friend of mine I was speaking to, this is just anecdotal, it's not based on any concrete data, but he said the top 3 industries that are benefiting from investment. Number 1 is architecture. Number 2 is professional training and simulations, and number 3 is gaming. But again, as I mentioned earlier, I've also seen a lot of activity in product marketing and creating these sort of companion experiences that are driving people towards brands. So a lot of it is very geared towards gaming because VR is kind of like this sort of step cousin to gaming because the technology is shared, but it's really a lot more than that. So I think that there's, I think it's just my 2 cents. Those I think where the highest potential lies for creating VR.
And there's another interesting one, which is actually designing physical products. So it's like if you send it to someone, you say, okay, the repairman, can he fix this? And he puts on a VR set, and you can prototype it, and you can see, okay, can I get my hand around to grab whatever it is to replace it? Or I can't in this case. So there's a lot of stuff you can do there that you can be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the Vive experiences, if anybody gets a chance to try a Vive, there's a Vive experience by Google called Tilt Brush, and it's literally you can paint in 3D. Like you can sign your name in neon or flame, and you can walk around it and see your name in 3 dimensions. But what I've seen people do, they have like different backgrounds or scenes that you can load up, and one of them is like a mannequin, but a very kind of abstract one where it's just kind of the head and the torso. And you can use that for fashion design. You can like literally paint strips of fabric on top of the mannequin, and just imagine, and you can just undo it or change the colors or do whatever you want, you know. So it's really going to be very transformative. I think once the technology comes down in price, people start to get their handle on conventions and things like that. I think it's just going to be really exciting. So.
Just a question about AR, augmented reality, and how, what the differences you think in the user experience. I know it's a bit early just but do you see much different in terms of developing and designing?
Yeah, I think a lot of the some of the concerns about augmented reality kind of for virtual reality go away with augmented reality, because augmented reality is about taking what you're already seeing and adding new elements to it. You know, so usually you're only kind of rendering objects that are in front of you or displaying some information about them. So there's not there's so much of this sort of takeover of your brain that happens with VR. So they're predicting that augmented reality is going to be an even bigger industry than virtual reality. So I think that is something certainly to keep in mind. You know, you're already seeing it with Snapchat. And all of the 20 filters that people can do on your faces and blending your face with somebody else, that's augmented reality. So I think that's, you know, Pokemon Go is augmented reality, you know? So I think that it's already here, and I think that some of these concerns, some apply, but, you know, like the newspaper thing, not overloading users with information, that's just good UX no matter what you're working on, right? We've got like 5 more minutes, so.
Have you seen any projects in development in terms of social interaction in VR? So like not necessarily like multiplayer games, but I don't know, like VR Facebook or something.
VR Facebook. Well, I think that, you know, Facebook. The question is.
No, let's forget Facebook. I'm talking about 2 people connecting via VR as opposed to you are just interacting with the virtual reality.
Sure. There's one, actually a friend of mine that used to work at Pandemic Studios, he has a company up in Seattle called Against Gravity. And they work on a product called Rec Room. And it is gaming, but it's social gaming. So it's like basically people playing, you know, like paintball or, you know, ping pong. And it's using the Vive, so it has a very high degree of accuracy with where people's hands are, where their heads are and stuff. But people are playing charades in VR. And it has like a tilt brush style functionality where you can kind of paint something in the middle of the air, and you see people dancing and stuff in VR because they can see their hands, and it's actually really surprising that you can get that sort of, even just from a two kind of hand controllers and a headset, you can kind of get that subtlety and expression. So, so there's that. There's I saw a demo just the other day of somebody showing off playing board games in VR, and you can kind of switch their games up from being like a like a chess game to other different types of board games, and that's designed for people to kind of interact with each other. In terms of like just pure socialization, I think anything's possible for sure. I think it's just you can have people getting together and having virtual meetings. They're sharing information. I mean, I think that it's wide open, like what can be done with this medium. So I think there's no reason that there would be a constraint on having those type of just purely social experiences. I mean, you can have a microphone, you can talk to each other, you could change the way that the mouth opens depending on the audio input from another user. I mean, it's going to go wild places. It's going to be cool. So, yeah. Any other questions? Any comments? Okay. Awesome. Thanks, guys.